How does a massive university tell its own story? And what happens when you hold that story up against the public record? Well, today we're doing just that. We're putting Gomal University, a major public university in Pakistan, under the microscope to find out. To really get the full picture, we're going to look at this from two different angles. First, we've got the university's official website. That's the story it wants to tell. And then, we've got its public Wikipedia page, which is the history documented by the community. You could say it's a tale of two very different portraits. And the official story starts right at the top, with this really powerful statement from the vice-chancellor. He calls the university a testament to resilience and vision. That phrase right there, it sets a very clear tone for how the university sees itself, as ambitious, game-changing, and incredibly proud of its journey.
So, let's dive into that self-portrait. How exactly does Gomal University present itself to the world? Well, according to its own website, it's nothing short of an academic joy.
First off, let's just talk about sheer scale. The university has a student body of over 22,000. That is a huge number. It's like a small city, and it really tells you just how big of a player this university is in Pakistan's education scene. And its physical size? Just as impressive. The main campus is spread out over 800 acres, which the university itself describes as one of the biggest and greenest in the entire country. We are talking about a massive footprint. Okay, so what about what you can actually study there? Well, the university offers more than 70 different programs. A number like that tells you about its breadth. It's not just big in terms of size, but also in the sheer scope of what it teaches. And this reach isn't just limited to one place. Gomal University actually has 3 separate campuses. This is so key to its regional influence, spreading educational opportunities from its home base in Dera Ismail all the way to the city of Tank.
So, that's the official portrait. It's grand, it's expansive, and it's incredibly proud. It's a really impressive picture, for sure. But here's the thing, it's not the only picture. And that leads to the crucial question, what other details pop up when we start looking at the public record?
So, let's shift gears to our second source. When we turn to the public record on Wikipedia, we start to see specific names, dates, and events that add a whole new layer of context to the university's origin story. Now, this is what I find really fascinating, the difference in the details. The official site is kind of poetic, right? It talks about a modest building. But the public record gives us the names. It credits Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto with actually founding the university in 1974. And it names Nawab-Ala Nawaz Khan as the person who donated the land and served as its very first vice-chancellor. These kinds of specifics really ground the whole origin story in historical fact. And you can see just how quickly they got things moving. I mean, look at this timeline. Just 1 year after it was founded in '74, the pharmacy department was already up and running. By '79, the Faculty of Agriculture was established. This shows they were expanding rapidly right from the get-go. So how did all that growth translate into what they actually teach? Well, by putting both of our sources together, we get a much richer idea of not just Gomal University's curriculum, but its role as a real academic trailblazer in its region. On its website, the university proudly calls itself a pioneer. It says it was the very first to bring business administration and pharmacy programs to the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. This really positions the institution as a leader, not just another university in the area. And the public record totally backs this up. I mean, just look at this list of degrees they offer. You see a huge range from veterinary medicine and engineering all the way to law and public administration. So the bottom line is that both sources paint a picture of a really comprehensive, multi-talented institution.
All right, now it's time to bring the two portraits together. When we synthesize that official story with the public record, we start to get a much more complete and, sometimes a more complex view of the university's reputation.
Look, any institution's history is rarely a straight line without any bumps. And the public record, well, it naturally includes the challenges and controversies that don't usually make it into the official self-portrait. This is where we see the biggest gap between the two stories. For example, the Wikipedia entry for Gomal University talks about some difficult events. It reports that in 2020 and 2021, 2 professors were dismissed from the university after allegations of sexual harassment against them were proven. Now, this is a really critical piece of information that's just absent from the official narrative, and it adds a very serious and challenging layer to the university's recent history. And this really gets to the heart of why we have to look at both sources. The official story is about aspiration, but the public record, it's also about accountability. And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty crucial question.
Gomal University is, by any measure, a massive and influential place. It has a proud, ambitious story it wants to tell the world. But it also has a public history that includes specific and sometimes very difficult facts. So how does any large institution navigate that space between the aspirational story it tells about itself and the complete story that's told about it in public? That tension is definitely something worth thinking about.